Draft League City. Home sweet home. I don't know if I'd say it was good to be back. Things had changed in my absence. It was quiet. Yeah, too quiet. There was no sign of Fist's cult anywhere. Had they gone to ground of their own accord? Unlikely. My gut was telling me something else, or someone else, was responsible. But that'd have to wait. What I'd heard from the consortium back in the Battle Resort was bugging me. The second stage of the NX Games was right around the corner, and from what they'd said, they'd had a big hand in fixing things. But how? If they were messing with matches, making things go the way they wanted, well, I'd seen that shit before, and I didn't like it one bit. To make matters worse, I couldn't deny that they were right to say there was no DLPD here anymore. I had no favors left to call in, but what I did know was that the NX Games was being televised from somewhere. Surely they wouldn't be so bold as to have that emanating from an active location. So I had my first lead, the old Draft League City broadcasting station. I was gonna have to go this alone. In the meantime, I just had to hope that Coach Shroom could hold his own in Stage 2 of the NX Games.
Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and welcome to the first game of Stage 2 of PPL NX. Yes indeed, we are back for Stage 2 of Pokemon Premier League NX. Very excited to be a part of this one. We have been put into a group with a lot of friends, a lot of scores need to be settled, a lot of friends who haven't played before, who I get to play for the first time. I'm very excited. Hopefully there will have been a sort of team overview gone up within the last couple of days. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to start things off, because our very first game we are going up against the PPL Commissioner themselves, Grey, and the Vancouver Titans. Their links, oh, hit my mic there. Their links down in the description below. Make sure you check them out along with everyone else in our division, as it were. We're in the second group of people to upload, so there will already have been some uploads on various other channels. Yeah, going up against Grey. Last time we played them was in PPL Season 3 quarterfinals, where we got beaten by Iron Crowned, Scarfed. It was rough, but we are hoping to get some revenge here. Grey's team consists of Spectria, Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, Gliscor, what's that? That is the Tinkerton, Moltres, Galarian Slowbro, Milotic, Saurina, Galvantula, and Floette. Now, Terra rulings on this one. On the pricing range, everything 13 points and below, barring a few specific bans, can Terra. So on Grey's team, everything from Tinkerton below can Terra. It's only Spectra, Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, and Gliscor that can't. You can only bring a maximum of 2 Terra Captains designated per game. You can bring as many ones that can Terra as you want, but only a maximum of 2 are allowed to be designated the Terra Captains for that week. So let's get into the team we're going to be bringing against Grey. Starting off with Terrapago, someone I've been so excited to use for so very long. We are running a very physically defensive set here with some nominal speed investments. We have Terra Starstorm, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, and Calm Mind on there. With a Calm Mind up, we can do vast amounts of damage with Terra Starstorm. Very few things on the team are resisting it. It's only really, I believe, the Spectria and the Tinkerton that do so. So Dark Pulse and Earth Power, very good coverage to take them on. There are the moves we are rocking. We have the Heavy Duty Boots on there, which is a pretty standard set for Terrapagos to be running. We do have Sticky Web and potential Hazard Stack on our opponent's team, so it'll be useful to have those Heavy Duty Booties on there to keep our Terra Shell intact. Next up, we have a Lumberry Iron Treads with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Ice Spinner, and Rapid Spin. We are 200 invested in attack with an Adamant Nature. With a rapid spin up, we're outspeeding everything, and I think without one, we are certainly outrunning the likes of the Sarina if it's offensive. Lumberry on there because if the Spectria is coming in, or at least if I'm coming in on the Spectria, which is a fairly useful switch for Iron Treads, we may be seeing a Will-O-Wisp coming out. There's also the chance of switching in a Moltres on an Ice Spinner. We avoid the Flame Body that way. And yeah, hopefully Iron Treads can do kind of what it did in the last stage. Do some endgame sweeping if we can get a rapid spin up, hopefully. If not, hopefully we can just get some big damage for one of our other big hitters like the Trapagos or something else to come. Third member of the team is going to be Assault Vest Primarina. We have max special attack modest. We've got enough speed on there to outpace, I think it's the Milotic if it's got some investment. And we have the rest thrown into physical defense. We have Moonblast, Hydro Pump, Flip Turn, and Energy Ball. Moonblast, very, very spammable. Hydro Pump is good coverage for the likes of the Galarian Slowbro, the Tinkaton, stuff like that. Energy Ball pretty much just on there for the Milotic to get big damage going on there. And with the AV, we're looking to try and take at least a couple of hits from the likes of Spectria, Moltres, Milotic, Galvantula, even the Floette, which we are taking seriously as a decent enough threat. Then we have one of our potential designated leads in the form of Citrus Berry Mew. We are max HP with a lot of speed on there, making sure we can outrun again the likes of that Sarina if it's coming. We should speed tie, I think, naturally with a Moltres, but if the Moltres is coming, I'm anticipating it to be a bit more bulky. We have Ice Beam, Earth Power, Toxic, and Taunt. Mamoswine coverage usually goes pretty crazy. Here, it's very good. We can Toxic the likes of the Moltres, the Iron Hands, even the Roaring Moon and the Milotic. Taunt will be good to stop some of those mons going for their recovery moves or hazards. And yeah, we can hopefully proc a Citrus Berry to maintain our longevity on Mew and kind of go from there with it, making sure we can get some good chip damage. Especially for the likes of our next team member, and that is going to be Protective Pads Haxorus. Yes, Haxorus is back for me. Really excited to give it another go. We have Dragon Claw, Aqua Tail, Earthquake, and Dragon Dance on there. We should be able to set up a Dragon Dance on a fair few things. Dragon Claw, once again, is very spammable. We have Earthquake with Unnerve for potential Shuckerberry Tinkaton. And Aqua Tail is on there pretty much just for the Gliscor. Other than that, we're pretty much going to be spamming Dragon Claw outside of, say, that Floette. Final member of the team is going to be our Terra Captain for the day, and that is going to be Terrafire Loaded Dice Breloom. I've wanted to use Breloom for a very long time, and here we go. With 132 attack Adamant, max speed on there with an Adamant nature should be enough to outrun uninvested Moltres, Milotic, some of these sort of mid to slower mons. Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, Rock Tomb, and Terra Blast. We do have Terra Fire on there, try and avoid some Will-O-Wisps, take a few hits neutrally that otherwise wouldn't be, and be able to get around that Tinkaton and hit the Sarina for super effective damage. Outside of that, Bullet Seed is going to be hitting very hard, Mach Punch is good priority to try and pick off a weakened Roaring Moon, and Rock Tomb is very nice for speed control to allow the likes of my Haxorus or Iron Treads to maybe threaten something out, or outspeed it and get a revenge KO. So, that is the team I'm going to be going into this game with. Let's get over to the battle screen and see what our opponent Grey has decided to bring against us. So, as you can see, Grey has decided to bring Spectria, Sarina, Galarian Slowbro, Milotic, Moltres, and Roaring Moon. That is Terra Steel, Glowbro, and Terra Flying on the Moltres. Now, I'm pretty happy to lead with my Mew. There is no Tinkaton here to lead and be immune to my Toxic and Get Up Rocks. So unless it is the Glowbro, which may not want to stay in against a Mew, I should be happy to stay in and try and get some toxic damage onto something early game. So, Mew is going to be my lead. Let's see what Grey decides to do to combat that. So, here we go. PPL NX Stage 2, Battle 1 against Greyvee and the Vancouver Titangs. They are going to be leading with the Moltres, as I say, I'm going to be leading with my Mew. Now, unless they are Terra Flying, Choice Specs, Modest, Hurricane, they are not going to be coming close to OHKOing us from here. And I'm kind of anticipating a bulkier spread, so I am happy to just stay in here and go for a Toxic and start wearing this thing down. If they go for U-turn, so be it. It's not going to do an inordinate amount of damage versus my max HP Mew. And I'll be able to get a Toxic off onto whatever wants to come in, which could well be the Milotic, and that's kind of what I'm angling for here. So, I'm going to drop a Toxic and see if we can't work out what kind of set of Moltres we're running against here. So, Grey is actually going to Terra their Moltres frame 1 straight off the bat, going with that Terra Flying, which could be a little bit scary. Again, if they are specs offensive here, this has a chance to OHKO us. But as you'll see, we are going to outpace, so they are a bulkier set at the very least, and we're going to be able to get a lovely Toxic onto the Moltres, which I'm very happy to see. Now, Grey is just going to go for that Hurricane, the big Terra Flying boost, and as you'll see, this is going to do a whole huge amount, nearly OHKOing. This is telling me it's definitely specs, it's definitely modest, and it's got some investment, possibly not fully invested. But that is a problem. Clearly looking to break very early on from the get-go. And it's worked against my bulky Mew. But as we know, I do outspeed. So my plan here is to try and get as much damage with Ice Beam as possible. And then go into something to revenge. Now, as we know, this thing isn't particularly quick, and that means that it should be revenged by the likes of Iron Treads or Haxorus. So like I say, just going to go for Ice Beam, try and get as much damage as possible, and revenge it early on. So, in is going to come the Ice Beam from Mew. That is going to be super effective and score a crit, which is really nice. As you'll see, Hurricane is going to come in from the Moltres. That is, of course, going to take out my Mew from there. So, turn 2 and we are 6-5 down. However, the Terra Captain and Breaker of Grey's team is severely weakened, and if Mew outsped, then we're pretty sure that Haxorus is going to be able to. So, in comes Haxorus, and much as I would love to set up a Dragon Dance, it very much looks like Grey is leaving this in to make big hits until it dies. Now, obviously I have the protective pads, that means I don't fear the Flame Body, so I am just going to go for my Dragon Claw here. I should definitely be outspeeding this Moltres, and especially with the crit from the Ice Beam from Mew, that has put Moltres very much in range of Dragon Claw, and Haxorus should be able to take it out from here. Moltres has done a lot of work already, it has decimated my Mew, but Mew has helped put it into range of my Haxorus, and honestly, with this being a Specs Moltres and Amber's designated Terra Captain for the game, that is a trade I will very gladly take. So, Dragon Claw is going to come in, and we are playing tit for tat. It's turn 3 and we're already 5-5. Haxorus gets our first KO of the season, and like I say, that's a trade Mew for Moltres that I will very gladly take. So, next in is going to come the Milotic. Now, Milotic can do any number of nasty things to Haxorus. We could see Ice Beam coming out here, we could see the likes of Icy Wind, Alluring Voice, any of those things. So I don't want to be staying in here. My best option would probably have been the Mew, but I don't have that anymore. So I'm going to have to go into something else, and not wanting to switch in my Breloom on a potential Ice Beam, not wanting to go in this early to Terrapagos and break my Terra Shell, my Assault Vest Primarina is going to be the best bet. I should be able to take on the likes of the Spectria and the Glowbro with other specially defensive things. So AV Primarina is going to be my go-to here. It shouldn't really be taking any damage from a Milotic, and hopefully we can threat out or cause big damage to it with Energy Ball. So, as I say, gonna call my Haxorus on back, and I am going to make the switch into my own water type. That is going to be the Primarina, as we see Dragon Tail. So definitely a good thing I didn't try and set up, because that would have done a good amount of damage and made my Dragon Dance wasted. Now, from here I have a couple of options. I can just go for big damage with the Energy Ball, but realistically I don't see Milotic staying in, and it should be outspeeding me. So Flip Turn is going to be arguably my much better play. If it doesn't stay in, then so be it. We are going to get initiative, and if it does, then I might be able to go into the likes of Terrapagos or Breloom to take this thing on better. And it is enough to get rid of the Milotic. Grey is going to get the Milotic out of there, and is going to go into the Glowbro. We, of course, are just going to go for the Flip Turn. We're not going to do a whole huge amount of damage, but we do scout that this thing is not Rocky Helmet. That's nice. Now, a few things that we can do here. Once again, Mew would have been super nice, but at this point it is looking like my Iron Treads is going to be the best option. With the flying type gone, Earthquake is particularly free, with only the Solrina to resist it. So yeah, looking to go into my Iron Treads here and start going for Earthquakes. So it is going to be the Iron Treads that comes in for me. I was really considering going with my Haxorus, and try and Dragon Dance on this thing. But if the Glowbro is packing Toxic, that's not something I want to mess with. Iron Treads is arguably my better play now. The Sarina can come in, but as I've always said with Regenerator mons like this Glowbro, if you can keep them below like 50-40%, that really limits how many times they can switch back in to get the regen back. So Earthquake is arguably going to be my better play in this instance. So, the Glowbro is going to be threatened on out of there. As to be expected, it is going to be the Sarina that comes in. I debated going for Ice Spinner, but it's not a prediction I really needed to make at this point. I'm just going to go for Earthquake and do a solid amount. Looking like this thing could have some offensive investment. So I could stay in here, go for Ice Spinner, but not sure whether the high jump kick will KO. That is always going to be a bit of a risk, but at the same time, there's not a huge whole amount I want to switch in here. I should be outpacing unless it is Scarf, and if I can get that big Ice Spinner damage, so much the better. So, in is going to come the Ice Spinner, and that is going to do a good amount of damage to the Sarina, who is just going to go for the Power Whip, but that is not going to do over half. And with the Ice Spinner damage, the Sarina is very much in range of Earthquake. Another good reason for getting damage on this was to put it in range of my Breloom as well, because of Queenly Majesty blocking my Mach Punch. But with it at the range of health it is at, an Earthquake is going to be a clean KO from this range, unless Grey wants to take damage on another member of their team. And it turns out that they are going to give me that extra damage. Going to switch out the Sarina and going to make the play into the Milotic this time. And I'll take damage on Milotic every day of the week. Earthquake is going to come in, and that is going to do just under half, which is super nice to see. Now, a water move coming in here would be potential. So there's always the chance of going into my Primarina, which is basically a fairly safe switch for me. Again, Breloom is a consideration, but I don't want to take a rogue Ice Beam. So, it is going to be the Primarina that comes in. And in comes the Scald from the Milotic. Thankfully, no burn, but that's fine. Right now, I am free to either click Moonblast or Flip Turn, or make another switch, because realistically, it's looking like a Recover is going to be coming my way here, and that would afford me a very free switch into my Breloom. So, I am going to make that double switch. We switch out, meaning the Milotic is staying in, and I am going to therefore get a nice free switch into my Breloom, as it is indeed the Recover that comes in. Now, the Moltres is gone, which means, realistically speaking, there's not a whole huge amount that wants to take a hit from Adamant Breloom. So I am fairly free to go for Bullet Seed. I'm not going to go for the Terra Fire here. No real reason to, just in case this Milotic is built to take a Bullet Seed. I doubt it, but it is a possibility. So, I'm going to remain unterred. I'm just going to go for the Bullet Seed and see if Grey has anything that actively wants to switch in here. And the answer is a resounding no. We are going to get a big crit on the first Bullet Seed hit. But as you can see, that really doesn't matter. The minimum amount we can get is 4, and that was taking out the Milotic from there every day of the week. Down it goes, and another big wall is taken out of the way of my team. So now Grey is going to pull the trigger on the Spectria. Now, I can do a lot of damage to this thing. Here's the thing. I am Terra Fire. And I'm very much anticipating this Spectria to have the Will-O-Wisp for the likes of my Haxorus, my Iron Treads, things like that. So Terra Fire is actually fairly free here. It's not going to do anything against the damage that Shadow Ball can do, but if they are packing the Draining Kiss, then it's going to weaken that too. And they can't really afford to set up, because Bullet Seed is looking to do a lot of damage. So Terroring Fire and going for Bullet Seed is absolutely my play here. Unfortunately, I don't click the Terra button, and that is a problem because they are indeed packing the Will-O-Wisp. Really bad play on my part. I lost nothing by going for Terra Fire there. As you can see, the Bullet Seed is going to come in. 1 hit, 2 coming in there. Here comes the 3rd one. We're still doing a good amount of damage even though we're burnt. 4th one comes in, and as you'll see, we are going to get the 5. So if we weren't burnt, that's looking like it could well have just OHKO'd this Spectria from there. But a bad misplay on my part sees the Spectria live. Now at this point, I really lose nothing by going for Terra. Because the Draining Kiss coming in is fairly obvious. For them to get back up to a good amount of health and try and get some value out of this Spectria. Rock Tomb is going to be my play of choice. because I don't see me winning this 1v1 now that I'm burnt. So the best I can do is get consistent Rock Tomb damage and lower its speed. But once again, I do not go for the Terror. I don't know why I wasn't terroring. I've got Ogerpon Cornerstone Syndrome, apparently, not wanting to go for the Terror. But we are going to land the Rock Tomb, get the Technician boost, and lower the speed of the pony. Now, at this point, Breloom is pretty much unsalvageable. If it wasn't burnt, then sure, I could well save this to try and get Mach Punches off onto the likes of the Roaring Moon. But that is not going to be my play here. Instead, what I'm going to do is stay unterrored for whatever reason, and just go for another Rock Tomb, just to absolutely make sure that what I bring in to revenge the Spectria can do the job. Now, as you'll see, even with my adamant nature, with my hefty speed investment, I am going to outspeed the Spectria whilst it is at -1. So we get another Rock Tomb off. The Hex is, of course, going to take out my Breloom from there, but it has got some very good damage onto the Spectria, and even with the Grimnay, it's at -2 speed. So it really can't afford to be staying in here, especially when I have this guy waiting in the wings, because now it is once again time for Haxorus to hit the field. Now, I can't really be going for Dragon Dance here, just in case they do want to do a last gasp Willow. They're either going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, or they're going to try and salvage this Spectria for later. As you'll see, Grey is going to go for the latter option and try and salvage it for another time. They are going to go into the Sarina to sack it off to the Dragon Claw. So if I'd have gone for Dragon Dance there, would have been in a really nice position. But as it is, the Sarina goes down, Haxorus picks up its second KO of the game, and now it is just Spectria, Glowbro, and Roaring Moon versus the rest of my team. Now, Grey is going to go back into the Spectria, and here is where I take a calculated risk. I feel like they are going to want to go for damage on me right now, because if I start setting up Dragon Dances, things are going to get really hairy for them real fast. So I'm actually predicting them to go for the Draining Kiss here, and try and put me in range of a Glowbro living a subsequent hit, and revenging me. So what I'm going to do, in the face of potential Willow, is actually go for Dragon Dance here. If this works out for me, I'm going to be in a fantastic spot. And as you'll see, it is the Draining Kiss. Now, I knew I could live this hit, and we do fairly handily, and they are not going to get back enough HP to the point where they can live a +1 Dragon Claw. I'm going to go for that Dragon Dance, and now Haxorus is at +1 attack, +1 speed, and like I say, that Draining Kiss recovery is not going to be enough for this thing to live the subsequent Dragon Claw. So that is what I'm going to click, and see if we can't get Haxorus going late game and try and sweep through the rest of Grey's mons. The only thing that can potentially live a hit here is going to be the Glowbro. But if it has a Sugar Berry, that's not going to matter because of my Unnerve. So what I'm hoping is that it's not massively physically defensive. If it's not, this could be in the bag. So, in is going to come Dragon Claw from Haxorus. That is going to see off the Spectria. Down it goes. Haxorus remaining at +1 from Dragon Dance. And now, like I say, it is just the Roaring Moon and the Glowbro versus the world. Roaring Moon is going to die unless it's Sashed or Habanberry. But it is going to be the Glowbro that comes in, and realising what I've said, Habanberry is not going to matter. The only thing potentially saving Grey here is Roaring Moon with a Focus Sash, or a Scarf, or Booster Energy, and the fact that they haven't gone into it is kind of implying they don't have that. If this Glowbro is not physically defensive, then Earthquake has a very solid chance of just OHKOing. In it comes, and as you'll see, this is not a very physically defensive Glowbro. It is going to go down to the Earthquake, and now all that remains is the Roaring Moon. And like I say, the fact that Grey didn't go into it before implies it is not Booster, it is not Scarf, and it is not Sash. As you'll see, no Booster Energy is going to pop. A Habanberry will not matter due to Unnerve, so unless it's Scarfed, which it's not, or Sashed, which it's not, we are going to be able to take it. Down goes the Roaring Moon. Haxorus is going to claim its 5th KO, and that is going to be the game. So yeah, great start to the season, a big 4-0 win over our very, very good long-time friend and friendly rival, Greyvee and the Vancouver Titans. Like I say, their links down in the description below. Make sure you go and check them out. Like I say, one of my best friends in the world, amazingly talented battler, great content creator, does a huge amount of work behind the scenes for various leagues. So Go show them some love. Yeah, revenge for PPL Season 3 quarterfinals, and a great start to this season. Really happy about that. So yeah, first game is a win in the books, but the revenge tour doesn't end here, because tomorrow we see our second game of PPL NX Stage 2, and we are going to be going up against Lux. Someone else who, last time we played, beat us in a very important league game, knocking us out of the playoff contention for PPL Bolton Flare all that time ago. So that is going to be a great one. Make sure you stick around for that. Once again, like I say, check out Greyvee and all the rest of the coaches in our division, links in the description. But I'm going to get out of here. I've rambled on far too long, and to be honest, my throat really hurts today. So thank you all. My final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.